What's up, writing workshop? Sorry for the delay. It's just reshuffling lessons several times in 1 week can be a little bit time consuming. I think I finally found a sequence that's going to work for us for setting up next week. Same objective as what you saw on Wednesday. We're going to continue forward with talking about the research process today. The main way we'll do that, though, is by looking at the prompt for our research essay. This is what we'll be working on for the next month or so, almost a month and a half. It's probably the longest piece of writing we'll do all semester, so it's one that we'll take our time on. Our video today will also walk through the Choose Your Topic assignment that you see inside of today's lesson folder. But once again, since this is a virtual day, if you haven't taken a moment to pray yet, just take a pause, hit pause on the video, say a quick prayer for your learning, and then we'll continue. Alright, so today's lesson folder, you'll see three things. Research essay prompt is what we're watching now. I did include a file copy of the prompt itself that we'll be looking at together. There's also the Choose Your Topic discussion. I'll show that towards the end of this video. So, Controversies and Conspiracies. This is going to be our next major essay. We've already done college application essays. I'm in the process of grading them. Today, I just want to get a view at what we're looking at here so we can start the research process this week. Alright, so there might be parts of this prompt that I kind of gliss over for the sake of time, but here's what we got. I like to do a research paper in the middle of the semester. Now that we have one essay under our belt, we're familiar with essay structure. Now it's time to mix in something that so many colleges do and college courses do, is include some kind of research component for us to practice. There are two types of research, informational research and persuasive research. Talked about those a little bit on Wednesday. This essay does blend both types as a way to practice the research process as we continue to sharpen our essay writing skills too. Here's the prompt itself. 3 to 4 page essay. Explore a controversial topic of your choice. When we say controversial, we mean topics that have multiple valid sides to them. There's some examples below that we'll look at there. I will also note this essay prompt would technically allow you to look into conspiracy theories as well, but I will warn you, it is more challenging to find valid research for conspiracy theories than for controversial topics. Again, we'll take a look at that in those lists below in a moment, but this does give you some choice in what you write about, and that's what this week is for. It's for investigating topics, finding one that you really like, and then starting to collect research evidence. Your essay does have a specific structure to it. Your introduction paragraph will be an overview of the topic, maybe give the history of whatever controversy or debate or conspiracy you're looking into. Each body paragraph will cover a major side of the debate. So you could just have two massive body paragraphs in this essay, one pro paragraph and one con paragraph, or you can split them up, subdivide them more if you like. In your conclusion, that's where we're going to take a persuasive stance there too, where you get to, after exploring all sides of this issue, you get to take your own stance as well and explain where you stand on this and why. That paragraph I will allow you to write in the first person, but that's after you provide so much information earlier in your essay. We'll be able to see that more in depth once we get the outline out later this week. For now, I want us to look at topics. When we talk about formatting, so MLA, heading, and title, we are finally going to cover citations, how to cite research sources. We'll do that both in-text citations and a works cited page we'll do later on. And then the same sort of formatting things as your college application essay. 1-inch margins, double space, 12-point font, and so on. If you are looking for some ideas for topics that you could possibly research, Procon.org really is probably the best collection on the internet of the most controversial topics in our society today. They're constantly updating them, and that website does have categories as well. We'll explore that in a bit. Kallo is a rabbit hole. I'll show that one later, but especially if you're not finding anything you like on Procon, Kallo is a place you can look as well. Again, those would be for controversial topics. One thing to note, both of these sources, they do a really good job of listing arguments for both sides, so kind of explaining what the debate is for every issue. Procon and Kallo themselves are not credible research sources. They're kind of like Wikipedia, where they never list their authors, so you can use them to find information and get ideas. You can't use them for actual research or citation within your essay. The 3 deadlines we're looking at with this essay, outlines I would like to be done by the end of March 1st. I could go a little bit later than that because of the craziness this week, but we'll see how we're doing. First draft I would like to get in right before spring break, so I can use spring break to give some comments on those first drafts. And then we'll finish off final drafts the week after spring break. It gives you a chance to make any changes based on my comments and get a final draft submitted. Some ideas for topics. Now these are just examples. You can certainly use them, but they're just a small set of options that are available. I want to look at controversial topics first. These ones are the ones that would be easier to research, easier to find valid sources on both sides for, and there's so many on the internet you can choose from. These are just a small set of examples, but I wanted to give you ideas on what sorts of topics we're talking about. So things like the death penalty. Should the United States continue to use the death penalty or expand the death penalty, or should the United States abolish the death penalty? There's good arguments on both sides of that debate. It gives you a chance to kind of research why people think the way they think on the death penalty, and then come up with your own conclusion. Some other ideas: marijuana legalization or decriminalization. Those are two different terms with different debates behind them. Animal testing is an ethical practice. Similarly, are zoos an ethical practice? I could have put a slash there with zoos, but I forgot. Gun control is a huge debate in our society today. The voting age or the drinking age, should either of those be lowered in the United States, or should they be kept the same? There's, again, good arguments on both sides. Say federal minimum wage, should it be raised, and by what amount, is a big debate. Do video games promote violence is a good question. There's really good arguments on both sides of that debate too. Performance-enhancing drugs, should it be legal for pro athletes to use steroids or other performance-enhancing drugs? Say space exploration, it's incredibly expensive. Should the United States continue to push for space exploration, or is that money best allocated elsewhere? Again, all valid arguments, all valid debates with valid arguments on both sides. Those would be examples. But again, Procon.org, Kallo.com are good places to look. As I mentioned a little bit ago, I will allow you to investigate conspiracy theories with this essay. I will warn you that this is a lot more difficult than controversial topics, especially as it pertains to research here. In general, you should probably keep it limited to this list, but if you have an idea that I clearly forgot about, you can certainly raise that up in your discussion. Some good ones to look into if you're the conspiracy research type. John F. Kennedy's assassination is probably the most well-known conspiracy theory in the United States, along with the moon landing. If you were to choose either of those, you would use your body paragraphs to explore different sides of that conspiracy theory. One side, obviously, is that all these conspiracy theories are just theories and they're untrue. On the flip side, you would investigate some of the research, some of the evidence that exists to suggest there might be something deeper there. So, for instance, Apollo 11 moon landing, one of your body paragraphs might be exploring why it's clearly not fake. Another one would explore why some people think it is faked, and some of the ideas they come up with there. The Shroud of Turin is what I did mine on in high school. If you're not sure what that is, look it up. It's a fascinating piece of history. Cryptid animals like Bigfoot or Sasquatches or Yetis could be something to look into. There's some fascinating evidence on both sides of that debate, too. Was 9/11 an inside job, or was it clearly done by terrorists? Celebrity deaths. The idea that Elvis Presley lived a lot longer than he actually did. Same thing with Tupac and Michael Jackson. We see these kinds of debates coming up from time to time. Are they still alive? Are they hiding out on an island somewhere? Again, crazy conspiracy theories, but fun to explore. Oak Island, just a legend tells that there is a massive treasure trove buried somewhere beneath Oak Island off the coast of Canada. That's something to research. D.B. Cooper allegedly pulled off one of the craziest heists in American history. Another good one to research. QAnon is probably the most recent one. That conspiracy theory has a whole lot of small elements to it, but it's all kind of under one umbrella. That might be worth researching too. Once again, conspiracy theories can be really hard to research, so I would only choose a conspiracy theory for this essay if you really want to challenge yourself with this one. Otherwise, stick with a controversial topic. You can use this weekend to research. Find a topic that you really want to write about within your essay. I'm not going to walk through the rubric in depth here. It's another 100-point essay. Just like your college application essay, I'll let you read for yourself just how I'm scoring individual aspects of this essay. I will tell you that a really big component of it is getting your research done right. So making sure that your research is properly quoted, paraphrased, cited, formatted. That is a major part of this essay. And That's what we'll spend quite a bit of our time doing these next few weeks. Going back, what I will ask you to get done by the end of Monday, so you will have some time in class on Monday to work on this if you need, is this little discussion called Choose Your Topic. Now that we've kind of read through the prompt, I do want you to use this as a space where you can actually select your topic. It's more interesting for me when I have a lot of different essays about a lot of different topics to read, rather than the same 5 topics over and over and over again. Once again, Procon and Kallo are clickable. I'll look at them in just a moment. But in the comment bar for this discussion, I want you to identify which topic you want to write your essay about, as well as your idea for your thesis statement so far. I want to see what your thinking is so far. One thing I will tell you, there is one topic that is completely off limits. That is abortion, or Roe versus Wade. I use it every year as an example, and I'll continue to do that this year too. I'll actually use that as my model in just a moment here. Again, I do want it to set it up so that it's no more than 2 students in each class on the same topic, just to make it interesting for me. These are first come, first served. So this discussion gives you a chance to claim that for yourself, so that it doesn't get claimed ahead of time for you. Just grading it as a 5-point completion grade, you are not required to comment on a classmate's post, although you can if you like. So for instance, if I'm typing here, I might say, the topic I will write about is abortion. As we think about a thesis here, I want to do something that covers both sides. I might say something like, while many Americans argue that women have a right to choose their bodies, others argue that abortion breaks moral and ethical barriers. Something like that. Just, it doesn't have to be my final thesis for my essay, but I just want to get an idea so far of what we're seeing on both sides of the debate. Actually, I'm going to copy this. I'm also going to post it to 8th hour to make it simple. You guys should be able to actually see each other's comments even before you type, because I want you to see what topics have been claimed so far. Again, I will ask you to choose any topic besides abortion. I will be using this space to either okay your topic or tell you that it's not going to work and you need to find another one. That's one reason why we'll be working on this in class on Monday as well. So if you do know what topic you want to use, either a controversial topic or a conspiracy theory, include those here so that I can start seeing what you're thinking and okaying those along the way. Monday is when we'll spend some more time in class to make sure that we can all find a topic that we like. Almost forgot, I do want to show off these websites real briefly as well. Sorry if there's a weird cut in the video. Let's look at Procon first. So Procon.org, like I said, is the better collection of debates. This one really tries to boil it down to the most important discussions and debates happening in our society today. So notice even in their tagline up here, we have medical marijuana, gun control. AI is something I haven't thought about until this year. Is it good for society or is it dangerous? Are some ideas. Is college education worth it or is college a scam? Should medical aid in dying be legal? I'm actually not sure what that is. Let me click on it. What do they mean? Medical assistance. Oh, okay. It's just another term for physician-assisted suicide. They've changed up the terminology on that just a little bit there as well. I did get a couple of good essays on this last semester. And notice here that Procon does list off different pro and con arguments. So physician-assisted suicide allows terminally ill people to choose a good death rather than a painful one. On the other hand, as a con, it dangerously normalizes suicide. It makes people think that suicide is a more valid answer to life's problems when we know that it isn't, for instance. What else do they have? Let's see. Physician-assisted suicide is a matter of bodily autonomy. We talked about that with women's right to choose a little bit with my thesis statement earlier. It's this kind of a flip side of the same coin there, that some people would argue that people have the right to choose what they do with their own bodies, including kill it. On the other side, it endangers vulnerable groups, including people with disabilities, the elderly, and people of color. I'm interested how they make that debate, but I won't read that out loud right now. Ensures thoughtful regulation of the practice. Just kind of paraphrasing what that means right there, is just that that if people are going to commit suicide anyway, why not run it through an organizational entity like hospitals, for instance, or like the healthcare system, is the basic argument there. The slippery slope argument, just the idea that if we start with doctor-assisted suicide, it's going to lead to worse and worse ramifications later, like euthanasia or eugenics, for instance. Any others here? Nope, they list off the top ones there, and there's more research to look below. Notice that there's even comments you can look at to see how people make these arguments. Again, this is just a starting point for research. You can use these references to take you to different websites, kind of like how Wikipedia works as well. So that you can kind of start looking up research sources. We'll talk about that later on next week. The other one is Kallo. Kallo is the absolute rabbit hole. So notice there's almost 3 million contributions on this website. It's kind of like a social media site, but for arguments and debates in our society. Of those 3 million contributions, almost half of them have been upvoted or downvoted. There's 17,000 debates raging on right now. Some of those are in foreign languages, so it's not like all of them are English debates. 705,000 different claims, different arguments made here. I mentioned animal testing earlier. Let's just click on it and see what happens. On Kallo, everything starts off as a statement. So this one just says animal testing should be banned. Everything on the pro side is arguing that it should be banned. Everything on con would argue that it should not. And most of these claims have claims, have claims, have claims. So for instance, some people say that testing on animals is unethical. If I click on that, I get the why. And I get the cons there too. According to utilitarian theory, it is ethical. Rights and morality are human constructs that do not extend to animals. I would agree to that to some degree. But then even these have claims too, right? So even if I click on the fact that animal testing violates animal rights, I'm going to get more pros and cons, which have... This one does not have more pros and cons. Just go, yeah, I can go up once again into the earlier level of the debate as well. Looks like any that have these little like comments on them would have more below them as well. So again, I can keep going down the rabbit hole and going down the rabbit hole until I reach the end. But what's useful about that is that Kallo really shows you in depth why people argue the way they argue. Might give you some ideas on the lines you want to explore within your essay as well. Could be kind of a one-stop shop for seeing what sort of arguments you want to talk about, and then you can find other websites, other research to verify these arguments too. If I go back to Kallo's homepage, what I normally do on Kallo is I'll actually go to Explore Debates and click See More, so I can see some of their tags and categories there. Just going to see if I can find one that I'm really interested in. Let's hit Show More. I actually never looked at their cars category. Let's look at that real quick. Curious about that. I'm sure self-driving cars will be on here somewhere. Electric cars, good or bad for the environment? Bike share programs or scooter share programs, like we've seen Milwaukee has had problems with those in the past before. Should government subsidize ethanol? Would be an interesting economics question for those of you interested in the economy. Those sorts of ideas. So we can always explore and explore and explore. Like I said, there's thousands upon thousands of debates in Kallo. This could be a good place to explore if you have no idea what you are interested in and want to see how people argue the way they argue. I will warn you that not everything on this website is usable for this particular essay. So you want to be selective and don't be offended if I say no to a specific topic. I'm likely doing that because I'm asking you to find an easier topic to research, as some of these would be very, very difficult on the internet. Okay? I've jabbered enough. I want to give you space to explore. Once again, if you find a topic you really like, be sure to claim it in the Choose Your Topic discussion. You can use my example there as a model. On Monday, we'll double back to this, talk about it as a class a little more as we continue forward with research. Peace.